Knuckleheads, this is the Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier aftermath. I also wanted to get into what happened with Ottman Azaitar, but I'm not going to be doing it by myself. I've got a California MMA fight game legend with me, Chad the Savage. George, right there on your screen. What's going on, brother? How are you, man?
Fantastic. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing good, man. First and foremost, Chad, how are you doing? How have you been holding up? We haven't talked to you in a minute, man.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Just doing the family thing now. My son was born in the middle of this thing, so he's now 8 months old. So I've got that added to the plate with everything. But I'm forward. Every day is a challenge. It's a different grind than it was before, but it's still the grind, and I'm still just working with my athletes, trying to make sure the gym is staying afloat, and we're doing everything we can to stay motivated, keep my athletes motivated, and luckily, we have guys that are still fighting right now in the bigger shows. So, been busy.
I have seen that, man. Big props to you, Chad, for keeping the fight game going on, during this time and getting fights for your fighters. I know it's not easy right now. Um, just real quick, give us a mention of a couple of the guys that have been fighting. I know you've had some guys on LFA and so on and so forth. Give them a quick shout out. Let the people know who they are.
So we during this whole quarantine and pandemic, we had a bunch of different of our up and coming guys fighting either whether it was Bellator or LFA. We've had let me think, Ozzy Diaz just won by knockout in LFA, and that was voted one of the top knockouts of the year for LFA. So that was amazing. We've had Chase Gibson, Bruno Sosa, Weber Almeida, and even Lyoto Machida that I was working his camp for his last fight in the main event of Bellator against Phil Davis. So we've had a lot of stuff going on. It's been a busy time, and I'm going to be working with Pedro Munoz coming up in the UFC on the 13th, and I've also been working with Gabriel Green in the UFC for the 13th. So it's great that I had the opportunity to work with these guys during this time, and it's great because it keeps our junior athletes extremely motivated when they see that as well.
Big talent, man, and definitely excited to see what comes from some of these younger guys you've got going on. Especially, I'm a big fan of Ozzy Diaz, man. That guy's an absolute killer. But yeah, Lyoto Machida, Pedro Munoz. Who's Munoz gonna be fighting, Chad?
So he is fighting. Man, I just blanked the top of my head. It's a rematch against Jimmy Rivera.
I see. He had a hell of a fight with Frankie Edgar, man. So I'm definitely looking forward to that one as well.
Yeah, yeah, no, it should be good. I think, it was a close fight the first time they fought. I actually thought Pedro won it, and now, he's going to get the rematch coming here. And as far as it's been a while since they both fought each other, but I think growth wise from the two athletes, I believe this will be Pedro's fight.
For sure, Chad. So I kind of wanted to get right into this with you, man. Last night, Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, in their first fight back in 2014, quick knockout for Conor McGregor. Dustin Poirier seems to have turned the tables on him, man. What was kind of your impression of the fight last night? I'm interested to know what you thought.
Well, first of all, I have to say that I've always been a fan of Dustin Poirier. We go back as far as the WEC days. So I mean, we're part of the Blue Glove team that helped build the lower weight divisions, and he was instrumental, like as far as what that that transition was a part of, and he went through a lot of challenges, just like I did, and to watch him grow to the heights that he's done and come so close and just have it pulled out from underneath him, and then the way the first fight happened between them, it was so fast, and for him to get his due was amazing for me to watch as a fan, as an athlete, as a fighter, and somebody who's been through so many ups and downs. I'm so happy for Dustin. It was great to see.
And, for those that don't know, Chad did fight in the WEC. So that's, I guess that's where you're familiar with Dustin Poirier, Chad. What were your thoughts on?
One interesting thing is when a lot of people that know, I had a documentary, Occupation Fighter, at the same time just after my film came out. Dustin had one as well. So both of us had the only two MMA documentaries on Netflix at the time. So we had those two crossover stories then as well. So those are little side information of our
I
connections as
like
well.
that, man. That's very cool, Chad. What did you think about Dustin Poirier's strategy in this fight? I mean, is there anything that you saw that maybe, the common observer didn't see there?
I thought it was really amazing that he came out and actually went for a takedown off the bat to show Conor that, hey, look, this is going to be a well-rounded fight. And, he stuck to it, and then he started throwing the leg kicks. And that was something that we've seen a lot more and more in the game lately is people throwing those low calf kicks. In fact, one of my fighters, Chase Gibson, he's been dealing with issues from a low calf kick for almost 2 years now. So those things are extremely debilitating when they start landing, because think about it. When you get kicked in the thigh, right? And here's something that people don't realize. When you get kicked in the thigh, there's a lot of surface space for the swelling to actually expand to. When you half, it's isolated to that muscle. So there's no real room for it to grow or spread out as the damage is coming in and it's being more inflicted. So when you're getting repeatedly kicked in the calf, those injuries are really, really building up. And you saw it with Conor. It was a fantastic game plan. And to be honest, I was worried, because every shot that Conor lands, and this has been with anybody he fights, every punch that lands, the people get hurt by it. They're influenced by the power that Conor McGregor brings. And you saw it in the first round with Poirier. Every punch that landed, it was like, oh my God, that hurt him. That hurt him. But Poirier is just so seasoned. He is so well-rounded as far as being involved in those kind of fights. He didn't let it affect him. And look at the fights that he just had with Hooker. And it was one of those things where like both guys could have gone down at any time and they didn't. And when you saw it not affecting him the way that it affects most people, and then he still stuck to his game plan, it was amazing.
For me, Chad, and obviously I want your thoughts on this. I thought kind of what won Poirier the fight for me was that leg kick. I felt like when he landed that leg kick, after a while, it just seemed that Conor could no longer move, man. He couldn't get out the way, and he just got banged out. I mean, is that what you saw, or am I missing something there?
Think about it. Well, Conor's notorious, not obviously
but
using with his
pun
nickname.
intended there.
For no pun intended. But for standing in a very boxing heavy stance, he's got a wider base. He's very heavy on those feet, and he's very susceptible to throwing to leg kicks. But the thing is people are afraid to throw the leg kicks because it also does create the opportunity for you to get countered with a big strike, and that's where people have been caught by him. So Dustin had to take the risk to reward route, and they just kept landing and building up and landing and building up. And you saw early on in the first round that it was actually working. You saw the impact that it was happening, and you actually saw Conor's power start pull back. He wasn't able to really put his weight in that leg as he normally does. And I think in the first round they saw that it was working. In the second round they were like, just keep on it.
Right. A lot of people, I saw a lot of fair weather MMA fans, very fickle, kind of saying, oh, Conor gave up in there. It was just really downplaying the effectiveness of a kick to the leg, Chad. You've been in this game going on 20 years, something like that, Chad. Tell us a little bit about the effect of these calf kicks.
So you're talking about all these keyboard warriors who's never stepped foot in a gym, let alone a fight. The ones that are having the input on the way a leg kick feels, let alone a calf kick, right? I just want to make sure we're talking about the same people.
Right, yeah, those are the ones, those guys. Yes.
Right, so we're talking about the same people that go to a bar and they're the ones yelling at the TV what they would do while they're sitting there eating, 3 pounds of buffalo wings and a pitcher of beer. We're talking about these guys, right?
Yeah, those are the ones. Those are the guys.
Yeah, because those are the guys that I'm going to take advice from. And, if you've never been kicked in the leg by somebody who never kicked, period, now we're going to go by a world-class athlete. Then you want to talk about the difference between a leg kick to the thigh and a leg kick to the calf. These are completely different spectrums. And if any of these guys that want to say, oh, well, Conor quit, they want to figure out what it's like. They can come to my gym. It's not hard to find. And I will gladly, for 5 minutes, kick them in the calf to see how fast it takes them to quit.
Yeah, I would probably be good with just one kick from you, Chad.
No, not enough, George. 5 minutes, because that's what he dealt with.
Right. I don't think people seem to understand it, Chad. Me personally, I could speak to it. I mean, I'm not a fighter, but a couple times when I was training there, I remember you demonstrating some leg kicks for us, and you were just kind of showing me how to do it. I remember you were teaching us to kick out the back leg, and man, it felt like a crowbar. I mean, when you're getting hit with a fighter as well, a fighter's shins is different from somebody, a regular person's shin. I mean, you guys feel like you've got crowbars in your in your shins with all the kicks you guys have been, doing throughout your life. So I think that's also something people need to take into consideration.
It does, but these are like I said, these are the keyboard warriors, the guys that play Tekken and UFC online. That because they get hit in the chin or they get hit in the leg through a virtual video game. They were like, oh, that doesn't hurt. I get hit every day. I'm like, okay, get out of your fantasy land, show up to a gym. Let's see how bad that really hurts.
Right. I think it's silly. A lot of people also said, Chad, that is this it for Conor McGregor? What's kind of what's your thoughts on that? Because this obviously, I mean, this is quite a setback for him. But at the same time, he was fighting the other best guy right now in the division. So.
Yeah. Well, I think here's the way you got to look at it, right? For those of you saying that he's done, he's after this. Well, you know what? His perspective on everything has changed. When a fighter's coming up in the ranks, right? They're trying to establish a name. They're trying to change their life. They're trying to make money. Whatever their goals and their values are for why they're doing it. Through the travel of that, it is going to change. Now, you look at a guy like Conor, where he has made insane amounts of money. And so coming up through that, that's what it was about. It was about changing your life. And now his life's been changed. And now he's had so many months off from the moment where he had those life-changing experiences. It's no longer about trying to change your life. His life's already been changed. So now it's about the fight game. The question comes down to, how do you keep that hunger? I understand there's that burning desire of wanting to be the best and fight against the best. I get it. Trust me, as a fighter, I deal with that every single day. Every time I see a fight on TV and I watch these guys, I'm like, oh, I want to get in there and test myself against that guy. But when you do not have the need to fight anymore, how do you keep that fire truly burning? Because let's be honest, he could step away tomorrow and his entire family and their family will be good for the rest of their lives. So that's where the deep question comes into, where if he can find that drive again internally, then he's not done. But if he's just doing it because he wants to keep fighting, and it's not going to be there, because you've got guys that are fighting him that want what he has. And that's going to be extremely tough to stop because they have completely different reasonings for going after it rather than what he's doing to preserve it.
Right. So is that, I mean, there is that saying, it's hard to get up and run when you sleep in silk pajamas. I mean, do you think that's kind of what's happened to Conor McGregor here?
Absolutely. I mean, when I was coming up in the sport and I was sleeping in the gym, my reasonings for getting up in the morning are different than they are now. Yes, of course, I have a son and a family, but that at the same time, I have a son and a family now, right? So there's different things. Like, I need to be around for my son and my family. Where when I was living in the gym, that's all that it was. I had no money. I was completely broke. I woke up every single day and it was like, what can I do today to make me put food on the table so I can eat, so I can get to the next training session. So, the hunger for that is completely different. When you're talking about starving, that's a whole different game.
Yeah. Chad, let me play devil's advocate with you for a second, though. For me, he was winning that first round. And I don't know if he'd ever experienced getting nailed in the calf like that. I mean, maybe Dustin just hit him in a good spot. I mean, who knows if he doesn't land that kick or that accumulation of kicks, and Conor uses a different defensive tactic against it, maybe we're having a different conversation here. I mean, do you think, this rests solely on hunger, or was it just, also a smart strategy from Dustin?
I think it's both, right? Like, the thing is that that's the fight question always. Well, what if this shot didn't land? What if that didn't land, right? Conor looked great in the first round. It's a 5-round fight. How many times do boxers look great in the first 2 rounds when, against Mayweather, and then Mayweather opens up from 5 until whenever the fight goes on? It's you have to look at it through the longevity of the fight, not just because of the first round.
Yeah. Chad, do you think we see Conor McGregor come back after this?
Absolutely. I think Conor McGregor is going to go back. It's going to take a little time for his calf to heal. Like, perfect example, my fighter Chase Gibson. We've been dealing with his calf injury for 2 years now, from when he got a bad calf kick. 2 years, and we found out finally that he's been fighting with a broken leg for 2 years
Wow.
because the scar tissue had built up a mound around it, so the bone actually never healed. So when we just fought in LFA in South Dakota or Kansas, one of those. I've been bouncing around. It might have been Kansas, and we found out that he went out there and beat, this top prospect who was 8-0 coming off the Ultimate Fighter. We beat him with a broken leg, and now Chase is finally going and doing the rehab stuff for it. So the reason for bringing that up is that the calf kicks can take time, so it's going to be really dependent on the extent of the injury that was caused by it. But I truly think Conor will come back. He will fight again, and then we'll see what kind of hunger he has. If he loses again, it's just a matter of how bad does he want to keep fighting? Because people are going to start realizing that he's just a human being. And that's the same thing that happened with Mike Tyson. People were afraid of the aura and the energy that came from him. But when you realize that they're just a person, everybody has 2 arms and 2 legs. The prestige of what comes with that is gone. It's no longer the fear of the person that's standing in front of you. You realize that they are beatable. And so that's something that could also come from this as well. It's just that, he's just a person.
Right.
And yeah, he has all those characteristics, but at the end of the day, anybody can be beaten. And that's what we saw on this show. We saw Michael Chandler do that to Hooker. We saw this to Poirier and McGregor. And I truly think that this year is going to be the year of the underdog. And it's showing that anybody can be beat. You just got to believe that you can beat them.
Wow, I love what you said there. I agree with you. I think Conor comes back, Chad, but you really piqued my interest about Chase Gibson. Was he fighting with a broken leg on Dana White's Contender Series show as well?
He did. We thought it was just from the calf injury. So when we went in that fight, we were like, okay, just don't really throw the kick. He went in there top fiber, and Chase is a 45er. So we lost to that guy by decision on the Contender Series, which was tough. In fact, Chase took that fight on 1 week, less than a week notice, and he hadn't even been training during the quarantine. He was doing a lot of stuff on his own, running and doing that stuff. But with the fear of being connected to Bull, he was still in shape. Hitting bags, sprints, and he was in great cardio shape. But we didn't know how much his martial arts shape was going to be. They called him on a Tuesday to fight on, I think, a Friday. And we jumped on a plane on Tuesday, and there we were fighting on the Contender Series on the next couple days later.
Wow. Before I continue, guys, if you like what you're seeing, definitely like the video. Hit that like button, smash the subscribe button below, and not only follow us on social media, but follow Chad. He's got a YouTube channel. He's got social media. It's the Savage Hour Podcast. You could follow him on Instagram at Chad. It's Chad Savage George. Is that right, Chad?
Yes, sir. And then I have lots of techniques on CMA Fitness on our YouTube as well.
Awesome. So, Chad, you brought up the next topic of conversation for me. I'm glad you brought this up. I almost forgot about it. Michael Chandler. Holy shit, Chad. Look, to me, Chad, I said it. And I actually responded to a post that you put on Facebook yesterday. That guy looks like the most dangerous guy in the lightweight division to me. Slightly short, but incredibly explosive and athletic wrestler with dynamite in both hands that just vaporized Dan Hooker in the first round. We've seen him do that to a few guys now. What are your thoughts on Michael Chandler, Chad?
Chandler's a beast. It's something that I've known for years, just like a lot of other people that have been in the game. Chandler is the real deal. And, that's why he never moved over to the UFC. He was like, I don't need to. I'm getting paid over here in Bellator. Right. And when they finally, when his contract came up, he's like, you know what? I'm going to go prove it there too. And I know a lot of people thought, okay, well, Hooker's his first fight. There's no way that he's going to get through Hooker. And I thought it was going to be a good fight. I didn't think it was going to go like that. But my God. Chandler came out and he made a statement. And again, it shows you what the power of true self-belief. It doesn't matter who's in front of you or what the stage is. You just got to believe you can do it and have the right game plan. You can believe me on this or not. I was sitting with my wife and I saw what Chandler was doing, and I read into his game plan. I was literally saying what Chandler was going to do before he did it when I saw it, and she's yelling at me back here. She's like, "It's true." And because I saw it and I was like, that's brilliant. And so I started, he's going to do this next. She's like, no, he's not. And it happened. And I was like, watch, she's going to do this next. And it happened. And basically, let me tell you what it was. I'm going to attack the body because he's fighting a taller guy. I'm going to attack the body. And then when he starts reacting to the body, I'm going to go up top. And that's exactly how the finishing sequence happened. Fire low, get him reading it, look low, come up top. We have a series that we do with that with my squad. And we have a code name for it. And when I saw that, I was like, that's going to knock him out. And it did. And I couldn't believe it happened so fast.
And he had done that a couple times in that fight,
Well, it's because it was the game plan.
Yeah.
When you start getting, when think about this, if you've ever been fishing, right? You get the bite from the fish, and then you reel it in. And even if you don't get that strike and you reel it in, you still keep with the bait. You keep on baiting the same way, and then eventually you're going to get the big fish, hopefully. And in this case, he did, and it was beautiful. It was well deserved, and think about it, 11 years coming. He had to wait 11 years for that moment.
Wow, Chad, built like a fucking brick shit house. Incredible wrestling pedigree, dynamite in both hands. I mean, he knocked Hooker out with the left hand there, and I believe he put Patricky Freire to sleep in the same fashion with the right hand. I mean, I don't know. That guy just seems like a real dangerous prospect to me, man. That would be a scary fight.
I would disagree in calling him a prospect. He is definitely not a prospect. He is one of the best in the world.
I mean the prospect of fighting him. I'm sorry if that came across incorrectly.
Yeah, you're gonna listen. You got to know that he's going to be there, and he's going to be there to fight you.
Yeah.
And it's going to be one of those things that let's see. Touch him on the chin, see how that works. You're going to have that beard on you, knowing that I'm going to stand in front of a guy that could potentially knock me out with both hands. And if he doesn't, he can wrestle like an elite wrestler as well. So he's a dangerous opponent, and it's going to be interesting to see who they match him up with. I personally think that it should be Oliveira and him, and the winner of that fight will fight Poirier. That's my opinion.
But it's very complicated now because I felt like this fight should have been a championship fight. So if this fight wasn't the championship fight, then
how does Conor McGregor come back and fight for a championship fight when he lost his last one?
Well, but what I'm saying is, so if Khabib's not coming back, then who's the champ? I mean, it's very odd.
You have to create a fight for it. So I mean, you could have said it'll be Poirier versus, in my opinion, Oliveira. But now there's a couple more characters on the field, right?
Yeah.
So by eliminating Conor, now you got Conor has to fight one of these top tier guys. I believe the fight that makes sense is
Gaethje
and Oliveira. Have them fight because Chandler's healthy.
Yeah.
Have him fight Oliveira. Dustin's already earned his spot.
I agree.
And the winner fights Dustin for the title.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then maybe if Conor comes back, give him Gaethje. What do you think about that?
That's it. 100. I like that one too.
Yeah.
Because that makes sense. Think about it. You've got Conor that came into this fight by knocking out Cerrone, right? Like that was he knocked out Cerrone, but Cerrone, he's hot and cold, But when you go in there, look what happened to Khabib. So once you lose a world title fight like that, you're down a few notches.
Yeah. Chad, Chandler's dangerous, and I agree with you, man. I think Oliveira is a huge problem as well. I would love to see that fight, brother. I would love to see that.
And I think that's it, right? Because I know a lot of people in the UFC that are in the lightweight division are going to be upset that Michael Chandler is moving up so fast in that scale. They're like, I've been here. Why does he get a chance? Well, he gets that chance because look what he just did to Hooker, right? Like that's why he gets that chance.
Crazy. What do you think happens with Hooker after this?
Oh man, I think he got caught, and I personally think it was the pressure that he had problems with. So it's going to be interesting to see how he recovers from this because a lot of fighters, it's going to find out how you handle adversity, and maybe he comes back even stronger. Only time will tell.
Yeah. So, Chad, kind of on to the next topic that really interested me, man. I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on this too. Ottman Azaitar violates This guy, bro, I don't even know what to say about this guy. Violates safety protocol. Apparently, him and his team cut off their wristbands or whatever it was, handed it to some guy on the outside. This guy on the outside, Spider-Man's across, I don't know, four or so different balconies, lands on his balcony, drops off a black bag. I mean, this shit sounds like something out of Rocky and Bullwinkle or something. I don't know what's going on here. And then changes clothes and leaves the premises. Chad, the guy gets cut right on the spot. A 13-0 fighter who had won 2 fights in pretty spectacular fashion in the UFC. What are your thoughts on this?
Before I get into that, this was caught on camera. So imagine if the security team watching it, sitting back and going, "Look at this idiot! Like, what is he doing?"
My God.
Like this whole thing of him sneaking in and going up the elevators or wherever he climbed in from and changing clothes. You had this whole plan orchestrated and it was caught on camera. Like, what an idiot! What a bunch of idiots! And now this guy is gone from the UFC. You really. I want to know what was in that bag. I think everybody wants to know what was in the bag. What was worth actually doing that? I mean, the fact that everything's on lockdown, you can't bring guests in. You're isolated to the venue. You're all that kind of stuff. And you are the definition of just dumb.
Man, this has to be this has to be one of the stupidest, if not the stupidest moves I've ever heard from somebody in the UFC. I don't know. Maybe it's just recency bias, but I mean, this guy blew up. This guy may have blown an entire career with that move.
Oh yeah, no, he's done. He's done for sure. Absolutely. And I think forever people are going to want to know what's in that bag, and until he comes clean with it, people aren't going to let that rest because I mean nobody knows what it is. Maybe it's steroids, maybe it's drugs. Who knows?
To be honest with you, I definitely
maybe it was a bunch of streaming software so he could watch the fights online. That was a big thing with everybody.
What an absolute idiot, man. Yeah, just I don't know, just the weirdest thing I've kind of ever heard of in my life. The crazy thing to me is, he's always out there, acting real pious and religious and stuff like that. And then he goes and, hires Spider-Man to climb down 4 balconies to drop off, whatever the hell it was in his room. Always a good time in MMA, Chad. There's always some funny stories going on, brother.
Man, like that whole event, if that didn't have enough entertainment, I don't know what else did. I mean, even with you've got the Conor, you got the Chandler, you've got that incident, and then for those of you that actually paid for the pay-per-view,
man,
complete cluster happened where it was just shut off. So I'm paying $70 for a pay-per-view. And Dana made a big stink about we're gonna catch all you guys that are pirating it. It's like those are the only guys that are able to watch it.
Right. It literally took until the JoJo Calderwood fight for my stream to even start working.
Yeah. I think I lost 2 or 3 fights. My wife started watching like Coco Melon with my baby.
Oh my God.
So I'm paying $70 to watch Coco Melon.
Absolutely ridiculous, man. But yeah, I'm glad you touched on that too, because for me that was another unfortunate highlight of the night. But I think the UFC did it again. Fantastic card, man. That was very exciting stuff.
One thing I want to touch on it. This is actually a fun topic. Also, like the amount of memes that are coming from this event that involve Bernie Sanders.
Oh my God.
Is absolutely hilarious. The fact that he is becoming completely viral just from the election stuff, but now you've got all these memes of Chandler and even Conor hanging out with Bernie. It's hilarious.
It really is. Chad, man, I really appreciate your time on this stuff. I kind of wanted to open the floor to you now at this point, before we log out. I wanted you to kind of tell us what you're working on now and to kind of direct Knucklehead Nation to whatever it is you'd like them to know about. I know you're writing a book. You've got your second documentary coming out. You got a few things going on, so let them have it, brother.
it's one of those times where we have to really check ourselves and look deep inside of like, okay, what do I want to achieve in this life? And during this quarantine, I realized that there's a lot that I actually want to do, and I want to inspire as many people as I can. And we've got our second film, the conclusion of my life story as far as fighting, leading up to my retirement. That documentary, Life of a Fighter, the journey, is going to be coming out soon. And then I'm also writing a book. Being a champion is a choice. I have no idea where this thing is going. I don't know how to write. In fact, that's probably one of the most terrifying things about it, that I have no idea what I'm doing. And somehow I'm 127 pages in, and I think 38,000 words in. So, it just because you don't know how to do something doesn't mean you can't do it. You just got to go out and do it. You got to find the ways, find the tools. And especially in a time right now, we're in this pandemic where there are no answers. There's no easy routes. There's nobody to tell you what to do. You just got to do it. And the more we just say, you know what, I'm using this time to grow, and I'm going to help those around me, and we're going to get through this together. That's what we need to do right now. And every day I wake up in the morning, I'm like, okay, what can I do today that's going to get me to tomorrow? And that's the way I'm living my life. And I've got an amazing wife. I've got my newborn son. He's 8 months old, Logan, and I've got an amazing group of people around me. And every single day I realize that I need to stay strong so that they can stay strong. And that's what we have to do collectively to get through all this together.
Chad, man, I really appreciate that. Always motivational, always inspirational. Ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, Chad the Savage George. Congrats on the family. Congrats on the baby, brother. Cheers to you. And I look forward to continuing the relationship that we've got going on between FightersRep and CMMA, a gym that I believe is one of the most high-level combat sports gyms on the planet. It's no longer just an MMA or a BJJ gym. You've got a striking team there, one that actually won, at one of our shows, the Lions Cup. So I really look forward to continuing working with you, brother.
I appreciate it, my man. We're going to get through this. 2021's here. We don't know when things are going to open up, but as long as we keep staying motivated, we're going to make amazing things happen.
Thank you for your time, man.
My pleasure.